So Mali has dropped French as an official language. Like, they have dropped French. Yes, Mali has taken the step. No more French as an official language. I mean, this is what I've been preaching that ECOWAS should do, that the African Union should do. I'm so happy for this because they have started their decolonization journey. It may take them some years, but believe me, this is a nice move. Many people may think this is not important because when I keep on saying it, that we, like WAEC up till now, 2025, WAEC is still making English as a compulsory subject. Imagine making another man's language as a compulsory subject. That means you are using your hand to colonize yourself. You're supposed to be free from colonization. It may take them 70 years to achieve the dream of making their own local language. There, like your official language, using it in their books, industrial books, teaching children, but the end result is going to be worth it. Look at a state like China. That's why China is ahead and the US is always fighting China. Do you know why? Because China has their language, they has their religion, they has everything, and that's why they are progressing every day. Imagine a child will come back from school with assignments and go back to his grandpa. Grandpa will solve it because everything is written in their language. Mathematics, biology, chemistry, everything is written in their language. So their grandpa, great-grandparents know the language, know what is written on the assignment. But here, a child will come back from school, bring the assignments and go to his great-parents. They won't even understand the English in the first place. They will say it's written in English. They will be confused and all of us will become confused. It's at the end of the time. We are stressing ourselves so much. I have written a petition to WAEC. Stop using English as a compulsory subject. It should be extra. It should be like, if you want to learn English, it should be something like, extra. Imagine local languages in Nigeria are even the extra ones. Like if you want to study Igbo or Yoruba, it should be extra. If you want to, you add it. It's not supposed to be so. It's not. You are bringing your status down as a country. Imagine learning other people's language, making it compulsory. I don't know. But I just believe with time, Africa is coming back to life. Starting this Sahel nation, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, these guys are doing wonders. They are liberating themselves by all means. And I love it so much. We should look towards these things. I know it's small. People may think it's not it's not the most important thing. But give them 50 years from now, you see the changes this thing will make. Imagine writing all the physics, all the chemistry, all the industrial books in their language so that their parents, their great-grandparents will understand it. There's a lot to education. Imagine in Africa here, we have schools that are using British curriculum to teach students. Schools are meant to solve problems. But here, we are using British curriculum. They are studying to solve a problem of the Britain. It's kind of, we need mental evolution. We need to decolonize ourselves. We need to start thinking to solve our own problem. And this should be something that we should look inward and solve. Congratulations to Mali. I don't want to talk too much because this video is getting too long. If I keep on saying as they do me right now, it will be too long.
You all know that when these Europeans came to Africa, they stole all our history books. They made sure that every library in Africa was taken away. But you know why? The reason why the Tombuku University in Mali has so much history about Africa. You know the reason why? This is the country where the richest man in the history of the world, in the history and the present of the world, the richest man by the name Mansa Musa lived. This was the greatest African black empire in Mali. So they have just discovered this book. Now, according to the discoverers, they say that in this book, it says that during the time when Europeans were still banning the witches, they say that Tombuku physicians were performing eye surgeries. They said that during the time when Europeans were drowning in a plague, they said that Tombuku scholars were writing advanced medical textbooks. In addition to this, they said that when Europeans thought that the earth was flat, the Africans were already mapping the stars. I don't know how you feel about this yourself, but as for me, I'm so happy, man. I'm so tired of studying the history that has been written by our enemies. It is time to start learning the things that were already discovered by our own people.
We don't need France anywhere close to Africa. We don't need to be controlled by France or anything that got to do with them. We are changing the currency. Gradually, every single thing that got to do with colonial masters, colonialism, imperialism, and all of that, one step at a time, we're wiping them out gradually. Not everything will be said on social media. I told you guys before, right? Not everything will be said. The one we mentioned here, the one that is released, the one we push out, like, okay, this is done, then you're going to hear about it. So we're going to have, first off, we're going to have one currency, and this is going to spread the entire Africa, in the entire continent. It's going to spread. It's going to get to a point. This is just the beginning, right? It's just the beginning. It's going to get to a point where we're going to have one strong currency in Africa. No more all these foreign currencies and all of that has caused division in Africa. We're done with that. Are you also aware of the project, the current project that is going on? It's ongoing. The dam, the irrigation system. You see what Israel did? Can I say this one here? You know, that makes them to be independent, agriculturally speaking. So we're not just talking about military power. We're not talking about one sector, the gold sector and all of that. We're talking about how to make Africans life comfortable, to the point that no sons and daughters of Africa will want to leave Africa to anywhere in the world. They can go visit, they can go on vacation and all of that. But currently, the vision, the direction we're going is going to shock the world. It's going to shock the world. You know, the BRICS, they just launched their own currency, disconnecting themselves from the US dollars and all of that. That is also going to happen in Africa. All I'm asking us to do is to engage ourselves in this human capacity development. We want all hands on deck, not just one region of Africa, one section of Africa, but the entire continent. We have challenges, no doubt about it. We have problems, no doubt about it. But what is going to happen in Africa in the next 5 years is going to blow your mind. If you're not on board, come on board. Come on board, because we are moving. This train is not stopping anywhere, anytime soon. Congratulations to the Sahel region. As we celebrate you guys, we celebrate ourselves, we celebrate this movement. There are things we are pushing gradually, and very soon, every single person is going to know what is going on the ground. Are you with us?
Welcome back to Jay's Line. Yes, we can all hear from the videos that there's a big news out of Mali, and trust me, this one is loud. Mali's president just dropped a bombshell that is shaking France and waking up the whole of Africa. He has declared that Mali is done being tied to France's economy. No more begging, no more control, no more French currency. Mali is going fully independent, and it's for real this time. And this is not talk, this is action. And it's something a lot of Nigerian youths or African youths have been waiting to hear for years. What did this man really say? Basically, he said that we are taking back our money, our economy, and our future. France, it's time to go. We don't want your currency again. Your currency is dead to us. Mali is working on its own currency, something that serves Malians and not Paris. French influence is cut off. French businesses and banks can no longer dictate how Mali runs its economy. New friends, new plans. Mali is now looking to team up with Burkina Faso and Niger, who are also kicking out colonial powers. Now, how is this a big deal? Let's not lie. France has been eating off Africa for decades. It has been controlling our resources, our banks, and even our leaders behind the scenes. But now Mali is saying we are done being controlled like kids. And the president is not alone. He's got Burkina Faso's Ibrahim Traoré and Niger's military leaders on speed dial. These guys are building a new Pan-African alliance and is giving serious Wakanda vibes. Now, what's about to happen is that Mali is about to face pressure from France, the West, and probably some African elites too. But people on the ground, they are hyped. Young Africans everywhere are saying it's our time. More African countries might follow Mali's lead, and I hope someday Nigeria will too. A new West African currency could rise. France might try to fight back politically, economically, or sneakily, but one thing is clear: Africa is waking up. Now, the president of Mali just lit the fire. Now, it's up to the rest of Africa to keep it burning. If Mali succeeds with this bold move, it could change the game for every African country still tied down by foreign influence. Now, the real question is, are other African leaders bold enough to do the same? Or will they keep dancing for the West? Well, let's listen to what others have to say about this. And please, you should kindly let me know what you think in the comment section. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
The enemy we're dealing with is an enemy who has no borders, and they do not care what they do. And I can tell you it is not only on those aspects. We also have part of politics in it, part of sabotage in it. There are certain individuals that feel if they do this, they will make the country ungovernable or make it seem as if nothing is being done. And that's why they want to do everything. People are discussing with even the terrorists to make sure that they continue pushing their agenda to make Nigeria look as if it is unsafe. I can assure you that Nigeria is safe and Nigeria will continue to be safe. I'm sure you've seen the statistics of those, how a lot of foreigners and Nigerians that came in for the holiday having confidence that security is returning into Nigeria. We will continue to do that. They were not captured, they surrendered. Because we were able to put in measures to ensure that we deny them a lot of things, especially the oxygen, like I mentioned. Getting phones, getting food, and all these things. And so a lot of them felt, and we gave them the window that if you come out, we'll take you in. And what we did is that anytime they came out, the first thing we did is that we were working together with the state government, working with the DSS, with the police, and the NIA. They were being profiled. Those ones that are really active members are kept at the side, while those, what we realized again is that not everyone that was part of it is a terrorist. Some of them were conscripted, some of them were forced, some were enslaved. So we're able to separate those aspects. And you know, I mentioned that over 120 surrendered. Out of this number, over 60,000 were children. Now, what were the terrorists doing? In the past, they used to capture communities and then force men, especially adults, to join them, whether they like it or not. If you refuse, they behead you. So you had no choice. But now that it became difficult, that they don't have any territory, they don't have a means of doing that, they now decided to start impregnating the women. And what they do is that if a woman gives birth, when she's 4 months after giving birth, they impregnate her again to have. They were trying to produce a new set of terrorists. And to us, those new sets will have been most dangerous. Why? Because we know for humans, any society that you grow in, what you see is what you think that is normal. Now, those guys, those kids growing up in a society where killing is rampant, beheading, and all sorts of inhuman activities, they will not have empathy. They will not have sympathy for anything. And that's why we're happy that over 60,000 have surrendered, and they are. So we have women, the elderly, and these children that have been kept outside. Those main actors are going through the eradication, and investigation is ongoing. Those ones found to be culpable will be tried. And I'm sure you know that the Attorney General has been prosecuting them of recent. We're taking those of them that were found to be free, taking them to Operation Safe Corridor in Gombe, where they are being de-radicalized, and then giving skills, because we understand that poverty, unemployment, hunger, illiteracy, these are aspects that also aggravate this issue. So we must address them. And that's why it's important for us to have a final solution. I always go back to this: good governance. Our local governments must work well. Our governors must work well. We must have infrastructure. We must have food. We must have schools so that we remove illiteracy. Because part of this issue is with illiteracy. I mean, some of them are being told that if a soldier kills you, you are going to paradise. And if you kill a soldier, you have blessing. So you see those waxed ideas, which is not religious, it's not Islamic, it's not Christian. Evil people have taken advantage of them and using them. And what we also realize is that their commanders are living larger than life across the border because they are surviving around the no man's land between Nigeria and these other neighboring countries. So that's why I always insist that it's important that we work together with these countries. We don't want them to leave ECOWAS. We want them to remain in ECOWAS so that we can continue to work.
The way the Fulani boys have been unalived and others have been arrested because they were trying to destabilize Mali. And now the Western media is propagating that those were civilians. They were not the terrorists. You won't believe this Western media. And these are the people who have been funding these Fulani boys, giving them food, giving them everything to ensure that Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger has destabilized. And these people had evidences about these terrorists. They had ammunition, they had knives, they had guns, they had everything that showed that these people were not good people. They were trying to destabilize the economy, the country of Mali. And now the Western media is defending them. They are saying those people who were arrested should be released with immediate effect.
These countries are making sure that they close door on every form of colonialism and then they become economically independent of this white dominance. I don't know what you think about these three countries, but Africa as a whole is proud of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger because they are taking a step to make Africa an independent continent. Now, if you look at what Ibrahim Traoré is doing in Burkina Faso, you come to realize that sometimes it's like military government is even far more better than democratic government. Looking at what these persons are doing, and believe me, if they launch this currency, the Sierra might be one of the strongest currency in the whole world. The same way we have the currency of Kuwait and then other, Asia continent. So, what do you think about the action of these three countries? The AES countries are actually going to make Africa proud, and believe me, many African countries in their democratic state are expected to learn from the AES country. In fact, I got an information that Ibrahim Traoré is trying to form a union that will bring Africa together. And from what I'm hearing, this man is proposing to be the president of Africa. That is, if we are going to have the Afro Union, so that we can start using the Afro currency. The whole African countries might be using one currency, and you can actually travel to any country in Africa without visa.
Europe's hostility and Europe's decline to Africans is making other Africans turn to Africa. And actually many of them are seeing opportunities in Africa, particularly people from Egypt are moving to Tanzania. And they're saying that they never actually considered other African countries until the hostility of Europe. And this is starting a trend where Africans are turning to other African countries. Now, this can only be a great thing for Africa, where other Africans are seeing opportunities in other Africans. And I hope that other African countries are welcoming, because we've seen hostility by South Africa, but we know there's a lot of trauma in South Africa because of, they're still traumatized by apartheid and all of that. And instead of directing their anger to the people that caused it, they're directing their anger to other Africans who fundraise to actually help free and trained the South Africans to fight for their independence. But this is great news, guys, that people are actually beginning to see light in Africa. And yeah, this is great news.
France has become bankrupt. According to reports, France Orano says its Niger uranium mine on verge of bankruptcy. You know that when France was there, before they kicked them out, France was mining the uranium, selling it for 200 euro per pound and buying from Niger, the democratic elected, 0.80 euro. So when our all in all took over, he said, this is now. How can they be having uranium yet 70% of the Nigerians were living in darkness? That all that is on the soil of Niger belong to the people of Niger. And he also started selling it 200 per kilo if you want, but if you know what, make you go now. And France is now in trouble. They cannot sleep. See, these people have nothing. They are depending on us. We are the reason to which they are there. They want to see are all in all for taking control. It doesn't make sense. How can you come to my land and take things, and now I'm saying that I want my thing back and you want to see me for what reason? This is not the democratic elected that you can maneuver your way out. This is amazing. Africans, we have everything. It's just bad leadership. And we, the youth, we are also a contributing factor, because we are the ones that are dancing and doing everything for these politicians. If we don't avail ourselves, what we are seeing in our respective countries, the democratic elected, wouldn't be seeing that. Can't you see how Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, the youth are out there supporting their leaders, making sure that we see a better Africa? So if we all should change our mentality and put politics aside, supporting party A, party B, and fight for a better country and a better Africa, the narrative will change. So we are the only ones that can set ourselves free. So that's the latest around the world. In France.
Guys, Mali to establish 1.5 billion US dollars of military production factory right there in Mali. According to Assimi Goïta, the military junta and the president of Mali, he made the statement earlier that he wants Mali to limit the way they depend on foreign countries for them to keep fighting against terrorists in Africa and Sahel region. That starting from now, he wants Mali to start producing their own weapons by themselves from scratch to the finish, their own drums, their own airplane, their own bombs, their own guns, from scratch to the finish. Although Russian voluntarily just sent military equipment, ammunition from Russia to Mali a few days ago to strengthen their military against the terrorists, the Western-sponsored terrorists in Africa here. Voluntarily sent these weapons so that Mali military will continue fighting them. This is what is happening right now. 1.5 billion US dollars mapped out for this project. Remember, Mali is the only free debt country in Africa. Only one. They are not owing anybody. IMF, World Bank, locally, internationally, Mali is not owing anybody. They have paid their debts in full, and they still have 1.5 billion US dollars to map out for this project. They are building roads, hospitals, schools, factories right now, all of them together right now, and they still have 1.5 billion US dollars to map out for this. But other African leaders, they are busy right now borrowing, keep borrowing. But Mali have paid their debts in full, and they still have enough for their nation, their country. Have you seen what these military juntas, what they are doing? Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. See what they are doing. They are not joking. They mean business. They know that if they continue to depend on these foreign countries, that one day they might disappoint them. They want to start producing their own military equipment. Have you seen what is happening right now? This Assimi Goïta, Abolish, Ibrahim Traoré, these guys are not joking with their citizens, with the lives of their citizens. They are not joking at all. They mean business. They are developing their economy right now. Security otherwise, they are putting more effort on that side. You see, no more terrorist activities. In Mali, you hardly heard of terrorist activities in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. But before these military juntas took power, we have been hearing of terrorist attack here and there, unaliving soldiers, innocent citizens. But just look at what is happening right now.
Was Africa, Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali. Now that Africa has stood up to the West with a firm hand and a firm grip and has taken their country back, oh, France, do you want to negotiate a fair price? We'll think about it. They have put themselves in the driver's seat. Supply and demand. Africa's got the supply. And in France, electricity is the demand. Here comes Africa.
There are dozens of African countries where France is printing a currency of its own, the France of the colonies, and with that currency, French debt is financed. If France didn't have African colonies, which it's impoverishing, it would be the 15th world economic power, and instead it's amongst the leading ones because of what it's doing in Africa.
So before anybody gets ahead of themselves here, we have to wonder what Africa is thinking right now as far as how they're going to sell off the resources and when they're going to sell off the resources, or if they are going to sell the resources once again to France, or is France going to have to go ahead and suffer the circumstances that Africa has put on? It's sort of like a sanction from a more poverty-known country, which is now becoming a more favorable country in the world. And how is Africa going to play this out? Well, one of the major factors that you would have to consider is the supply is how much and the demand is how much. You want to get that demand up as high as you possibly can. Is France right now in a position of demand where they've never seen before?
Let's not pretend Macron's statement was just a slip of the tongue. France isn't concerned about African development. France is panicking because for the first time in modern history, West Africa is slipping out of its grip and they don't know what to do. See, when Macron says now is not the time to leave Africa on its own, what he's really saying is we're losing access to your gold. We're losing access to your uranium and oil. We're losing control over your currency. And we're running out of ways to pretend we're still needed. Let's break that down. The CFA franc, still controlled by France, has propped up the French economy for decades. It's been the colonial ATM. French banks sit on billions in African reserves, while our people sit in line for fuel and food. But now, countries like Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger are kicking them out. And France is nervous. You can see it in the headlines. You can hear it in Macron's tone. Because when African nations started saying no to French troops, to economic dependency, to puppet politics, France lost the ability to destabilize quietly. They can't orchestrate coups the way they used to. They can't plant loyalists and call it democracy like they used to. They can't whisper from the shadows while Africa burns. Because the region is waking up, and puppets don't last long when the strings get cut. France needs Africa's minds to survive. They need our uranium to power their lights. They need our oil, our cocoa, our bauxite, and most of all, they need our silence. But we're done being quiet. So before I go, this isn't about whether Africa is ready. It's about whether France is ready to face a future where Africa no longer plays the sidekick, where we don't borrow identity, currency, or confidence from former colonizers. So Macron, if you're listening, your economy depended on ours for centuries. Now we're taking it back. Africa is not falling apart. Africa is falling into place.
How can you have a country and your currency is being printed outside? You say you are a sovereign nation. No, the church must speak. Look at what that young man has done. He's in his 30s. The man they are calling a dictator, look at the development he has brought to that country. He has built 2 gold refinery. Before, they carry all the gold out. He's providing employment. He's building factories, building roads, apartments, buildings, developing the nation. But you say what? He's a dictator. How? In 2.5 years, what that guy has done, you can't deceive us again. They take hold of your media and they paint Africa black. They paint us black. They say we are not. What Africa needs is not politicians. We need real leaders who care for the nation. And unfortunately, they are able to confuse us because there are some greedy folks, little ones, they look for them and they give them money and they ask them to bring confusion. And that's what is happening. Our borders confusion all so they can exploit us. But the time has come and the church must awake and pray against some of these things and speak also. We should be able to speak truth to power. This is a truth. This is truth that is bitter in their mouth. And we need to speak it. Those big denominations, they should speak.
As somebody who prays for the full liberation of African countries, and I mean all African countries, seeing news like this brings the biggest smile to my face. For the full context, watch the video below and please follow them. But Mali decided to seize the gold of one Canadian company that operates in Mali over unpaid taxes and decided to hold the gold until they were able to pay their taxes. And as a response, the Canadian company decided to suspend 2 of their operations in Mali. Bravo. I legit after seeing them get rid of American and French military bases in Mali, seeing the work that Burkina Faso is doing, just brings the biggest smile to my faces. And I genuinely hope that this is the start of Africa waking up and realizing that these corporations in these countries just used Africa and tried to suck its resources out of it without any benefit to Africa.
There is dispute between the Canadian Barrick's mining company and also the Mali government. So these people, they've been mining gold in Mali for a very long time and they were not paying tax properly. But later on, when they were taken to court by Mali government, they paid $438 million. Yeah, the Mali government took that money, but still they wanted to pay more money so that they can return to the mining ground. But the Malian government said, no, we want to nationalize our mining field. But right now, they are not okay with this because the Malian government have seized over 3 tons of gold which belongs to them, and now they are going bankrupt because of this. They want their gold back, but now Mali want to sell this gold to cover up the wages, the fuel which was used in mining this gold, because people, they are complaining there was labor which was used and those people were not paid, and this is the main reason why they want to sell this gold. But also, Canada is not okay with it. They are saying that this is illegal. You cannot just sell our gold like that.
The government of Mali has dropped French names assigned to roads, squares, and other public facilities in the capital, Bamako. Mali said on Wednesday, December 18th, that the move decolonizes the minds of the Malian people, removes monuments in honor of the colonizer, and ensures a return to national identity. Mali now joins its Sahel neighbors, Burkina Faso and Niger, in dropping French names assigned to public facilities in the countries. In a decree signed by Mali's transitional president, General Assimi Goita, the street named after West African regional bloc ECOWAS has also been renamed the Alliance of Sahel States, AES Avenue. AES is a 3-member confederation comprising Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. It was founded in September 2023 as part of the 3 countries' efforts to counter ECOWAS, which had imposed sanctions on each of the nations at different points in time over recent coups. So far, the Malian government has changed nearly 25 names of public facilities to erase French links. Mali has largely chosen its national figures as the replacement names. The government says this move will allow the country to pay tribute to its national figures as well as immortalize them so that they forever remain in the collective memory of Malians. The government adds that the move will also give young people historical landmarks, references, and inspiring role models, as well as preserve cultural heritage. Mali also says that its decision would help restore and rehabilitate our history and the figures who distinguished themselves through their great deeds. Mali, which is Africa's 2nd largest gold producer behind Ghana, got independence from France in 1960 after nearly 70 years of being under French rule. The Malian government has in recent times ramped up efforts to reclaim the management of its natural resources, mainly minerals from foreign companies. That has led to strained relations between Mali and Canadian firm Barrick Gold, which is the world's 2nd largest gold miner and has operated in Mali for 30 years. Mali has since issued an arrest warrant for Barrick Gold CEO Mark Bristow. Mali's neighbors Niger and Burkina Faso have also turned the screws on former colonial ruler France. The 2 African nations, just like Mali, have pushed out French troops from their soil and already made several changes to street names and monument names in the last 2 years. In October 2024, Niger renamed several historic sites in its capital, Niamey, which previously bore...
Mali's making a bold move to control its own gold. After a bitter standoff with Canadian giant Barrick Gold, the country is now building West Africa's largest gold refinery with Russian backing. The refinery, backed by Russian state-linked Rosgeo, will process up to 200 tons of gold annually, nearly 4 times Mali's current output. The message is clear: stop exporting raw gold to Switzerland and Dubai and keep the profits at home. This deal promises more local jobs, more value retained, and less reliance on foreign markets. But there's a catch. Russia is funding the project, providing the technology and embedding itself deeper into Mali's mining and military sectors. Critics say Mali may be swapping Canadian control for Kremlin influence. This gold revolution didn't come out of nowhere. It began when Mali accused Barrick of underreporting production and refusing to comply with new laws that would boost state ownership from 20% to 35%. Mali responded by seizing control of Loulo-Gounkoto, one of Barrick's top producing mines. Barrick denies the charges and is now locked in a legal battle with Malian courts and World Bank arbitration while the mine sits in limbo, draining cash. But this isn't just about one mine. It's about African nations pushing back against Western extractive dominance and Russia stepping in to help them do it. So is this a new gold standard or African sovereignty? Or just a shinier kind of dependency?